Hello, everyone, and believe me, I am embarrassed by the state of my setup right now because it is just a complete mess. I have been trying to work on a short film. This has been a nightmarish week trying to get videos out and do that at the same time, but let me see if I can do this properly, and I promise my setup will be back to normal very soon. But anyway, some of the good news that has come out this year is after the first part of the year started out with some really heavy box office bombs like Furiosa and whatnot, and after years after COVID of uncertainty with just so many box office bombs, it seemed that we were back to normal. We had a lot of big hits like Inside Out 2 and Deadpool and Wolverine, and recently some really decent hits like Beetlejuice, and Twisters did decently at the box office. So it seems that everything is up and running again. And even though there's a little uncertainty, next year there's just so many movies that it looks really positive for at the box office that I think it's okay to be done worrying about theaters collapsing and the box office completely collapsing, because it seems that everything is back. We need to focus on the movies at hand and what we want to see from them, not worrying about box office, because all the doom and gloom about that turned out to be false. No more saying that theaters are going to die. But anyway, there is one movie, however, that seems that it is not going to be on the same trend of movies surprising at the box office and making a lot of money. It seems that it's going to be back on the same trends of last year, of a lot of sequels that people thought were surefire hits getting just disastrous results at the box office. And that movie is Joker 2, Joker Folie à Deux. The tickets went on sale on the 9th, and you might have seen an article from Deadline saying that it's going to get a $70 million domestic opening, which is not bad for a movie. However, there's context that I think is missing for some people seeing this, and you need to understand this Deadline projection is sounding like something, from what I understand, that is just the most optimistic look at a movie that is an impending disaster. First of all, the Deadline article says $70 million opening at domestic box office, and it made it sound like that's an amazing thing. However, it kind of glosses over the fact that that is $26 million less than the first one's opening, and that this is far, far lower than just a few weeks ago, if not, was it a week ago, that the long-range box office projections were saying that this movie would open at $150 million at the box office, and now these projections are going way, way, way down, and now they're going worse than the box office projections of the long range and worse than the box office projections of the first Joker movie. So that's one thing, that the box office projections are clearly going down. However, what I want to interject from this Deadline article is, from what I understand, this is just Warner Brothers trying to put out some sort of optimistic spin on the Joker Folie à Deux's chances. Because if you follow the box office analysts, the people who have access to seeing what pre-sales are looking like and things like that, it's looking really, really terrible. Like 70 million is the optimistic projection. And remember, these outlets were also projecting that the Marvels and the Flash would do 70 to 75 million at their opening, and they did far, far, far less. Reading, for example, Empire, who is usually very optimistic about these movies at the box office, says, "Numbers don't lie, and even this early red flags everywhere, and the Joker movie is in big, big trouble if first half day of pre-sales are any indication. 100 million opening in serious jeopardy and might go a lot lower. Hopefully won't head for the Marvel's territory." And there were so many other box office analysts saying very similar things at the time. Not great, we will have to see, but this is not an MCU level sales. I've been checking sales periodically and I'm at similar conclusions. Its day one will be worse than the Marvels. Joker 2 won't even come close to the first movie. And of course, these were just in the first half day of pre-sales, but things did not get any better. A little bit later, once there were more information about the pre-sales at the box office, over on Box Office Theory, Flat Lannister said that it seems that it could be a movie that opens at 5.98 million on its Thursday night, compared to the first one, which did 13 million. And later, Box Office Theory would update to say it could be as low as 4.91 million. And there's a lot of these analysts who are continuously making comparisons to The Flash and the Marvels in terms of pre-sales, and we all know how those films did. So from from my perspective, this is not looking good for the film at all. And this is another film similar to Indiana Jones, similar to The Flash, similar to the Marvels and Aquaman 2, that Hollywood executives seem to think was a surefire hit at the box office because of its predecessor doing so well, doing $1 billion, or doing well relative to its time in the case of Indiana Jones. But it looks like it's going to be a major flop, and that's pretty big because there's no major competition coming out in October either. Some people even said that pre-sales for The Wild Robot were looking better, and I'm not sure if it's going to be that bad. But yeah, it looks like it might be another DC-related flop here. And before I get to my own opinion on that, I wanted to talk about something that confused me a bit, because I kind of had the opposite approach to the first Joker than this one. With the first Joker, I was completely against it. I didn't think the Joker needed an origin. I thought it was very, very obvious that this was just a guy taking a property and making it his own, like reskinning his own movie with a Joker with a big brand name to try to get it to sell, which is literally what he did. But then the movie itself turned out okay, and I thought that it may be vaguely related to the Joker in terms of just like general themes and incidental, a lot of the similar themes about falling into madness and stuff that have been done with the Joker before. So with the sequel, it wasn't what I wanted, but I wanted to be optimistic about it, and especially getting a new version of Harley after I've been asking for another actor apart from Margot Robbie. Once again, it was not what I would have wanted, but I wanted to be optimistic about it. But it's almost like everyone else has the opposite reaction to these movies than me, because the first one, everyone seemed on board with it, even when Todd Phillips made it clear that he was just taking advantage of an IP to sell his own movie, and that he cares nothing about comic books or the Joker, and everyone was still hyped for the film, wanted to see it as if it was a legitimate take on the character, even if it was an Elseworlds or something. But now, one of the main reasons I'm hearing from people why they don't want to see a sequel of, well, it's not the real Joker anyway, and I'm like, why didn't you guys realize that in the first place? But I think really the first Joker was just released under completely different circumstances. 2018 through 2019 for comic book related movies was just crazy with Infinity War and Endgame. And there were a lot of things like, once again, Aquaman or Captain Marvel that I think sold when they normally wouldn't have sold. There were a lot of projects getting made that normally wouldn't get made, or that normally people wouldn't accept just because of the general comic book hype. But it seems that people are really adamant when they said they didn't want a Joker sequel, they didn't want a Joker sequel. But obviously, I think the main thing that is scaring people away from this film is the musical element. And the problem with the musical element is that there is just no crossover from the people who liked the Joker and people who like musicals. It would be if you were saying that I'm going to do a sequel to Frozen, but this time it's going to be a hard R, macho, violent film. Like, there's just no crossover between these genres, because that is the number one thing that I've seen from people. If there was any interest in a Joker sequel, then announcing it as a musical and being very clear about that from the beginning and then trying to backtrack it, that killed the film, because you already announced it as a musical and that just turned everyone off. I guess people just did not want singing Joker, and that, along with the other factors, is why there's just no interest in this film. Because yes, it's getting poor reviews right now, but no one even cares about that. Like, everyone keeps excusing the poor reviews are because people hated the first one and the controversy. Like, there is no controversy around this film. No one cares. That's the real problem, is just no one cares about it, whether it's good or bad. As for me personally, I tried to have a little bit of optimism for it, but remember, you guys, this movie has been in the works for 2 years, and people seem to think that I've done a 180 and I was just so excited for the film and then I suddenly changed. Like, look at my face in this video that I did when the second trailer came out, and I almost didn't even do this video, and that is not the face of happiness. That is the face of somebody who's trying to put a smile on their face, and their eyes are so sad because they've just become so worn down on this, because my only investment in this film is, will we at least maybe, hopefully, in the way that I was surprised by the first Joker, maybe get some good Elseworlds version of Harley out of it? Because from my perspective, Harley in the modern age has become so changed from the original that I have to go through Elseworlds versions of the original character to even get something close to her. But even through that, and I've said this from the beginning, I don't know why people are acting like I haven't. I've known things about the ending from the beginning, and I was like, if they're true, this could go really south, and those things had been confirmed confirmed. And at the same time of like feeling like I should defend Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn because I thought that there might be something good out of her, and I still, even in the interviews and things that I'm seeing, think that she's probably going to pull off a good performance, and there probably is going to be something okay there, at least as a performance for the film. But I'm just so tired of accepting alternate universe versions of Harley Quinn, accepting less. Like, I would rather just not pay attention at all anymore because I've just gone through a catharsis this year. And I almost did a video on this where I'm reaching the apathy stage of grief with the character of Harley Quinn. Like, I don't care anymore. Like, I'm not going to grasp at straws for alternate universe versions of the character just to get something that I like, maybe, potentially. And so that's why it was so easy for this Joker film once I saw that, yes, the lack of hype is real, and it's not even going to get a lot of people watching it looks like. And even if they do, I don't know that they're going to like it. It's just not looking good right now. That's why it was just so easy to crush what little optimism I had, because I honestly didn't actually have a lot of optimism. I was just like, well, put a good face on it because it might end up being something you like. Like the first one ended up being good, but now it's just like I'd rather like I haven't even been really paying attention to Harley in the comics anymore. I haven't been paying attention to any of her new stuff. I still check it out occasionally. Never say that I am ever going to stop loving the original version of Harley, and I really wouldn't be doing these videos unless there was a part of me that cared about this stuff still. But I'm just so tired of being janked around, and we shouldn't have been getting this movie in the first place. We should have gotten, if we were going to get a different Harley, it should have been a Harley in the Matt Reeves universe. And I don't even know if this movie's performance is going to affect that negatively, if because everything that Harley is a part of now seems to be box office poison. Like I said, Harley is just not the draw that people think she is. But unfortunately, it looks like she's going to be a part of another flop. But at this point, DC really needs to be careful, because while this movie is bombing for completely separate reasons than like it's got its own reasons, right? But I still think that they should be wary about how Superman is going to do, because a DC movie has not been popular since the Batman, and all their expectations that people are going to see these movies just based off of the branding of these characters is falling apart. I'm not sure if people are really ready to invest in another Superman, and especially a DC movie universe again after over 10 years of failure from this stuff. And this is just going to be another thing that is technically connected to DC that is another failure, technically connected to one of their successes that is another failure. So they really need to accept that and consider that. But I also want to say, for the people who are upset about my optimism dying out, like, I'm just not expecting like anything good from this anymore. I mean, if there is something good from it from Lady Gaga, okay, but I'm also not obligated to like it. And you're allowed to have your opinion change if you get more information. That's the thing about it. But that's where I'm at right now, and I almost feel a little bit better for that, because it's like I don't need to be anticipating how this movie's going to do and how this movie's going to do for the character. I just feel like I want to let go of all that now, because I paid attention to things relating to the character of Harley for years, accepting less, accepting alternate universe versions of the characters that end up falling apart in the end, and I am just so sick of it, and I just want to let go of it for now. And if I pay attention to the character ever, it's going to be from the original version. I am tired of watching DC light themselves on fire, not just with this character, but with things in general, and there's nothing I can do about it. But I guess I just wanted to get something that off my chest, but that's all I got for you guys today. Do you think that Joker 2 could miraculously be saved, or do you think that the rest of the DC movies that they have planned in the future are in trouble, or if they just have nothing to do with this? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you to the 14 people who are currently subscribed to the Patreon channel and supporting my work on this channel. I do everything here by myself. Thank you all for watching once again, and I'll see you guys next time.